I think first and foremost, especially if people have got a family, it's that worry financially. They've never done anything else. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, where do my skills lie? Um, I think secondly, it's having that change of identity. You're no longer a professional footballer anymore. You've got to find your own identity outside of the game. I think those are the two key components to people that are falling out of or have come out of professional football.
And on the issue of money, a lot of people say, as you well know, oh, what's the problem? These are former professional footballers. They must have earned a lot of money. What sort of challenges have they really, really got? But there's a misconception there, isn't there?
100%. Obviously, nowadays, I think people read and hear and see a lot of the stuff. The Premier League players, a lot of them are on, you know, s- ridiculous sums of money. But unfortunately, that isn't the case for players that are down the leagues, from the lower end of the Championship, League One, League Two. These players are just on, a normal wage. And especially for the guys, the older players that were playing in the Division One, the Premiership back then, the money wasn't the same as what it is now. So I think we're focusing a large part of what we do is to be reaching out to that older generation that unfortunately wasn't paid the sums of money that the Premier League players are now. So yeah, that's kind of our main focus.
And when you go into a room of players, either current or former, what's your key message around the importance of focusing on a new career, a second career, if you like?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I know for myself, I've experienced some injuries throughout my career, and it was very much like, right, I've really got to knuckle down and figure out what it is and what my passions are for my next career. It can be difficult at times, but just to try and make the most of that time that you do have, to try and prepare yourself as best as possible for when that day comes, because unfortunately, as footballers, we never know when that day might come. All it takes is an injury, and you're out of contract, and unfortunately that's your time. So yeah, it can be really challenging, but something that hopefully we can support that with.
And you moved into coaching, which gave you the opportunity, obviously, to stay within the game. Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was lucky to some extent that I reached out to Fulham, and they were able to support me going in and shadowing. So a lot of what I was doing initially, and it's something that I would recommend people do, is voluntary stuff. Um, whether that be shadowing a coach or, whatever that might be that you have an interest in, go out there and don't be afraid to go and do some unpaid work and figure out what it is that you are interested in and what it is you like, and take advice from these people that are in these jobs that you would potentially like to go on to do. So putting yourself out there, using your network of people that's available to you is a really big help.
Now, you've only been in the job a short time at the Players Foundation, obviously, but have you been encouraged by the kind of response you're receiving from former players or players that you know?
Yeah, definitely. There's the reaching out to the former players associations. They're definitely keen to work with us to support their players. It's now just breaking down that barrier with the older players to, you know, show a bit of vulnerability at times. We're here to help. We're not, anything other than that. I know it's difficult with sort of very proud men, but if you are in need of support, please reach out, because there's no judgment here. It's we're here just for the benefit of you. We're trying to get the sort of former players associations together, to make them aware as much as possible of what we can do. We're then hoping that these guys who are heading up these organisations will go back and speak to their players, and then it's up to me and Simon to go in with them, build relationships, spread awareness, just to, I think if you have a good bond and a good relationship with people, that it always helps. So hopefully if we can get that, then more people will be reaching out for that support.
And do you think there's a bit of a psychological barrier as well between people knowing that's help available and accepting that they need it?
Yeah, definitely. It's can be really challenging to know that there you do need support, and I think that first step is reaching out for help. Like I said, there's no judgment. It's we're here for the players. We know that it can be extremely difficult, for players, no matter where they are in their journey, in their career, whether at the beginning, whether they've fallen out of the game, whether they're still in the game, there's always going to be challenges. So yeah, we're just here to try our best to support that.